Hello everyone, my name is Heili Kass. I welcome you to the Baltika's quarterly webinar. Today's webinar is hosted by the chairman of the board, Mr. Meelis Milder, and member of the management board, Ms. Maigi Pärnik-Pernik, who will introduce the results of fourth quarter and 12 months of 2017. We encourage you to ask questions throughout the webinar by typing them into webinar chat panel in the right corner of your display. Your questions will be answered after the presentation. Please do not hesitate to let us know if you are facing any technical problems via same chat panel. We will now start with the presentation. I'm giving the word to Meelis and Maigi. Please go ahead.
Hello also from my side. I'm Meelis Milder, chairman of the board, and pleased to meet you through this webinar where we are shortly presenting you the results and our very general comments of Q4, very briefly year generally, and you are most welcome to ask questions. And I start.
Yes, and good morning from my side as well.
And you are Maigi Pärnik?
Yes, I am Maigi Pärnik.
Well, just the general about us. Baltika, Estonian-based fashion brand house. Proud of our long history. By the way, we're celebrating our 90th anniversary this year. It's been quite a challenge. We do our own design fully here in Tallinn. We have production units also here in Tallinn and generally in Estonia. Here also is located our logistics center, so all our products we gather together here in Tallinn and then deliver throughout our customers. We run sourcing from different countries of the world, particularly right now from 19 countries. We sell to 30 plus countries. The sales are divided into four sales channels. The major part still goes through or comes from our own retail, which is Baltic based, and in the end of last year, we added one new market to retail. And then are coming wholesale, franchise, and e-com. So altogether 30 countries and the customers of those countries are receiving our goods and merchandising. We export about 60% of our production. Our retail network consists of 128 brand stores in 9 countries. As said, this network is divided by own stores and franchise stores. The count of those today is 33. We do wholesale to European Union and CIS countries. And our e-store, andmorefashion.com, delivers to 44 countries. And our revenue last year was about 47 million euros. We develop and operate fashion brands, as said, and there is a list of those. Monton, which is our leading and most international brand, and also having the share of our portfolio. Mosaic, we 91, Bastion and Ivan Nicol, and you'll get much more information visiting our website about the brands. We are proudly the largest Estonian fashion exporter. As an example, Monton brand revenue in Europe is more than 20 million in a year. Now also from my side, perhaps the important or major highlights of the year, and particularly the year end. I start with changes in management board. In October, supervisor board decided to recall the head of purchasing and supply chain, Ingrid Ulvokant, from management board starting from 18th of December. And since that date, the management board of Baltika AS consists of 2 members. This is me and Mikey. And just it's also well commented on our website and in our stock exchange announcements. But just to say it again, after the resignation of Mrs. Ulvokant, management board member Mikey Pernik is currently responsible of the entire division of purchasing and supply chain, which was before a responsibility of Mrs. Ulvokant. Then Monton and Olympic collection 1918. We were proudly following the parades from the Pyeongchang 2018 Olympic Games opening, where Monton was presented by Estonian sports delegation. And this cooperation between us and the Estonian Olympic Committee is quite long-lasting. In November last year, and this is now coming to the Q4 results and highlights, Monton and Estonian Olympic Committee revealed the new Olympic collection dedicated to the Estonians' 100th birthday. And Monton collection as well for the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics was called 1918 to celebrate the year of birth of Estonian Republic. And the collection was by the public and by the sportsmen very nicely appreciated. Q4 last year, we opened after some, or let's say many years, again the first store in Finland. And specifically in December, we started the new pilot project to support the e-store and other channel growth in Finland. Within this project, new pop-up store was opened in Iso-Omena shopping center in Espoo. And the initial duration for the finished project is planned for 6 months, with the purpose to support the integration of e-store and morefashion.com and physical store to offer unified and better shopping experience to the customer. But perhaps after this trial period, we are prepared to present a bigger plan for the Finnish market. Then widening the wholesale and the franchise area was the important task for the last year. Wholesale and franchise revenue growth, which we achieved last year, was supported by recently added markets, Serbia. And we're proud to say that starting from March last year, franchise partner in Serbia, Victoria Elegance, is operating 1 Monton and more store in Novi Sad city. Also, success of the last year was expansion in German-based department store group Peek and Kloppenburg, which are having and running department stores in Germany, Austria, Central Europe. And at the end of 2017, Monton collection was sold in 39 department stores, which is by 20 stores more than a year ago. Every year we establish or pronounce our, let's say, public objectives. You'll find them in our annual report. And for the last year, The set of objectives was divided into 3 major task groups, which were and are successful company. And the tasks were increase profitability and improve gross profit and operating expense ratio. A second group tasks, satisfied customer, where our main objective was to increase in all channels through offering better customer experience. And third task group was dedicated to motivated employees. And very briefly, results. Successful company. Profitability. Despite that we had very strong Q4, the year totally faced a profit decrease. So I can say, or I must say, the target is not met. Improving gross profit. Gross profit increased by 172,000 euros, which was a positive result. GP margin was lower a bit. So let's say the target was, let's say, closely met. And operation expense ratio to net sales improved slightly by 0.1 percentage points, so the target is met. Satisfied customer objectives. Again, the target was to increase in all sales channels, and we must state that the target was partly met. We didn't achieve the retail growth. The overall annual result was a slight decrease, 1%. But at the same time, wholesale and franchise segment grew by 5%, and e-commerce by nice 38%. In retail, share of the loyal customer sales was 73%, which is pretty much on a level with a year before. In e-com, the loyal customer indicator was 76%. It's a slight improvement compared to the last year. And to the target groups, about our employees. Several important activities were held during the year. We were updating and agreeing on values of Baltic Group last year. We renewed our employer value proposition, so many things were done. And now I give over to the Maigi, talking to you specifically through the results.
Baltika's 2017 fourth quarter revenue was 13 million euros, increasing by 2% compared to the same period last year. And revenue from retail market, which is Baltika's largest business segment by sales volumes and profitability, increased by 2% in quarter 4. And in sales channels comparison, the biggest sales growth, 38%, was achieved in e-com. In 2017, group's yearly revenue increased by 1% and amounted to 47.5 million euros. Retail sales. Baltic region retail business recovered after the 3-quarter-long period of decrease and resulted in 2% sales growth in last quarter. While October was still modest concerning sales, the winter season brought sales growth both in November and in December to all our retail markets. And the sales were recovering faster in Estonia and Latvia, showing increase of 4% and 2% respectively. In total, the yearly retail sales amounted to 39.5 million euros, and the decrease was 1% compared to the last year. About our brands, briefly, that we are quite pleased that our largest brand, Monton, increased sales by 3% in the Q4 and 1% in 2017. Wholesale and franchise revenue was almost 900,000 euros, decreasing by 7% in the fourth quarter. The decrease is mainly due to the complicated economic situation of Eastern European franchise partner and smaller demand for the new orders. But while franchise sales decreased in the Q4, the wholesale increased, and one of the growth reasons was successful sale of Pyeongchang Olympic collection to the partners. And in addition, the wholesale revenue growth was supported by higher sales volumes to Peek & Cloppenburg department store chain in Germany and Austria. In total, the wholesale and franchise revenue was 6.3 million euros, increasing 5% in 2017. The biggest brand was Monton with a 60% share of sales. And Baltika had a 33 franchise store representing our brands at the end of the year. Baltika Group's e-store and morefashion.com revenue increased 38% in the fourth quarter, and the same growth was achieved in 2017. Orders were placed from 31 different countries. Countries with the largest e-store revenue were continually Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Russia, and Finland. And in November, click and collect service that so far had been available in Estonia and Latvia was also launched in Lithuania. The best-selling brands in e-store are two of the Baltika's largest brands, Monton and Mosaic. And in 2017, the e-store and revenue was almost 1.5 million euros. So the final results. Baltika ended the quarter four with a net profit of 920,000 euros, which exceeds the results, last year's results, by 300,000 euros. And this is one of the best fourth quarter in 5 years. The company's gross profit increased by 500,000 euros and GP margin was 54.9, increasing by 3 percentage points in last quarter. The reasons: implementing the more conservative cost policy, efficiency inventory management process together with a strong demand recovered the gross profit growth at the end of the year and led to the highest gross profit margin earned in a quarter in last 5 years. Year together, 2017 gross profit amounted to 23.7 million euros, increasing slightly compared to the 2016 years. So, in spite of the weak result of 9 months, which was mainly caused by retail sector poor sales and deeper discounts, with a contribution of strong fourth quarter, Baltika ended the year in profit of 58,000 euros. And this was the short overview of our results. And now, if you have any questions, we are quite happy to answer to them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. We actually have already one question concerning this Olympic delegation project. And the question is the project of dressing up Olympic delegation profitable? Or is it just marketing, cost project?
Thank you for the question. In the history of our webinars, this is the first question, so we're very pleased to answer and encouraging you to ask more. Just very briefly, the bigger picture is that Baltika started cooperation with Estonian Olympic Committee 2004, and it is going through, let's say, 4 years Olympic cycles. So currently we have an agreement with the Estonian Olympic Committee covering years 2018 and 2022. And the sponsorship contract consists of both monetary or financial support and obviously the giving over the products or the sports collections to the sportsmen and to the delegation. So at the same time, according to this contract, we have also the rights to trade or sell the collection to the fans of Estonian Olympic delegation and perhaps to the fashion lovers. So financially, I would say that this project is breaking through. We don't have financial losses, but we don't also make profits here. So it is, I think, a very good example of the sponsorship program or project where both sides are pleased. We are pleased to represent or present Estonian design to the perhaps highest or biggest media events. We all know that the coverage by television of the Olympic game opening is more than billion people. So we proudly show our collection there, combining let's say, the talents of our designers and the talents of the Estonian sportsmen. But at the same time, we're also pleased to sell the products, the merchandise in the stores, and well, have that money just to sponsor again back the Olympics. So it's a win-win project.
Thank you, Meelis. Now you are most welcome to type more questions into webinar chat panel. We'll give you a couple minutes to do that, and then we will answer your questions. Thank you. Okay, here we are. We have some questions arrived. First one is for Maigi. Question is, please elaborate the financial difficulties of your franchise partners in Eastern Europe and what are your sales prospects there?
Yes, thank you for the question. No, let's start that there has been actually quite difficult times already for several years for these regions. And this is nothing actually very new, not for us, not for our partners. And in big picture, we should say that they are actually managed quite well. And we are quite pleased with the results. There are a couple of items that influenced the Q4 for us. First of all, one, we have quite flexible agreement. The flexibility is from our side, and we react to the sales. If they don't sell maybe as we have planned previously, then we can decrease slightly the deliveries to the Eastern countries partners. Mainly we are talking actually here in Ukraine. In Russia as well, but in Russia the situation is slightly different. So in Ukraine, the second half, we saw the slight decrease in local demand, and we decided to send or allow to send them smaller deliveries. In Russia, there were slightly, but very slightly decreased in November and December as well. But it was mainly due to some renovation in shops by our partners. So there is actually no big or let's say unexpected problems that we haven't used to have or what we haven't had already during last years. So thank you.
Thank you, Maigi. Next question. Can you comment first 2 months in 2018?
Yeah, we cannot comment specifically as we are publishing the results quarterly. But we may say that the beginning of the year has been pretty much similar to the already reported results of other fashion retailers in our region.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Next question. How's the management board satisfied with change in share price in 2017?
Well, let's say that our job, let's say, as a management board and the management team in general, is just to improve the performance of the company, and it's up to the shareholder to decide are we doing our job well or not so satisfactory. So for us it's very difficult to comment on how and why the share price is responding when it's going up or going down or sitting on a level. Perhaps either the results or the communication of what we do and what we plan to do hasn't been from our side strong enough just to convince the majority of the shareholders about the prospects of the company. And maybe it's right now good moment to say that we are very seriously trying to react to the challenges of the retail fashion business and retail or fashion business in general, both in our territories in the Baltics, but also in Europe. And we started in the second half of last year building up the new, let's say, 4 or 5 year strategy. We believe will address the challenges of industry and also reflecting our possibilities to grow as a business. And our plan, or let's say the management plan, is to present the highlights of this new 4 or 5 year strategy, what we call Baltika Group Strategy 2022, briefly in our annual report, which we are publishing in the end of this month, but to describe our plans to grow and to grow profitably internationally on our AGM, which will be held in May. So we hope that the future results and also the plans to grow and develop the company will positively affect to the share price. Thank you.
And the next question. What are the possibilities to set tighter control on distribution and general expenses?
Good question. Let's say that no simple ways and no simple answers. Yes, we have in our distribution costs items, we have big parts related to the rental contracts. Rental contracts tend to increase in time, not to decrease in terms of costs. And then there is a payroll topic. In Baltics, we all know that the pressure for the payroll, the decreasing number of the employees, this is actually quite critical issue. But it doesn't mean that we cannot do anything. We are actually working very hard in order to make all processes more efficient, to digitalize as much as possible our main processes. And this is actually something which requires maybe some investment in the beginning, but in longer term, it definitely helps to control the expenses level. Meelis, would you like to add?
And maybe I add that last, let's say, 2.5 years, we mostly have been focusing on our in-house process efficiencies, and in numbers you can measure it in number of people head office is employing, and it's been significantly reduced in last 3-4 years. And also the administration and head office expenses, which also have been reduced by thousands of euros during last year. So I think we've done quite much just to keep the cost level in a head office as optimal as possible. I think the new strategy I was referring to is now perhaps more focusing on how to grow, not how to further decrease the cost level. And I think that the future focuses will be on the ratios of how much we can grow in GP, and we definitely are going to very tightly control the ratio between GP growth and OPEX growth.
Thank you. Next question. Is there a plan to involve extra money in 2018?
Let's start that if you look at our balance sheet and our cash position, then we haven't had such a stable situation for years. Our cash position is actually very good in terms of Baltika's cash position. And the inventory level and other important balance sheet items actually are showing good trend. Talking about money, then this year we cannot comment about the exact plans yet, but we almost won't have the bank loans at the end of this year, and definitely there will be almost zero level next year. And if the company wants to invest and want to grow, then some bank loans will be quite logical to have. So there might be some changes in that area, but But if we have more concrete plans, then we definitely will come and share it with investors.
Thank you. How fast do you expect fashion retail to move forward e-channels in general?
Yeah, again, very good questions. And actually, we have already, I don't know, many times try to understand what will be the future for the retail business. We have had several brainstorming and thinking what will be the retail business in Baltics. What is going on at the moment? It might be that it is a small revolution in retail business in the world, starting from the USA, where quite many retail businesses has decreasing the number of shops and trying to change the business model. So there is definitely a very important move towards the e-channel. Everybody actually is working on that and trying to increase that. Whether how big exactly will be the e-channel share, it's hard to say. It's quite different today, and the biggest actually is in Asia. The e-channel and e-com is very developed in Asia region. It is less developed, slightly less developed in Eastern Europe. And we don't think actually that the retail fashion will be only e-fashion in near future. But we are preparing to change and to meet the changes.
Okay, and now the next question. Is the Finnish retail store together with e-com has fulfilled the expectations so far?
We went to Finnish market just to stay there, so we haven't done any big plans concerning the numbers. It is always a question, or let's say, making the right balance between entering the markets to stay and investing into certain set of actions, or just to try to let's say push up the sales. For us, it's entering the market with e-com and physical store combination. It's also a new approach to the market entrance, and we did it in December. So today we can summarize the results of 4 months, or let's say 3 months. We started with the absolutely new pop-up concept, mostly focusing on our e-store, but we didn't see actually the big impact of putting big marketing activities behind. So we changed the concept in January to Monton, and Monton sales after the let's say the season sale period ended are picking up. So perhaps if the growth trend continues, we'd like to continue also with the pop-up store and perhaps change it to the longer contract, but it is too early to say. When it comes to Finnish market in general, then right now we are planning preparing the package of combined marketing activities to show the possibilities to the Finnish customers, buying not just in a physical store, which still is a very small presence of our merchandise in Finland, but having this as a platform for e-store possible customers. We also, well, right now mapping the possibilities to enter into the other shopping centers in Helsinki, We are mapping the ideas and possibilities to start selling more also to the wholesale customers. So we are right now in the very beginning of the Finnish market strategy. I hope that will be ready by the summer this year, and then we are also happy to share it with our shareholders and investors.
Okay. We have one more question, right? Is there a plan to enter other markets with the same entering plan like it was in Finland? And if yes, then to what countries?
I already referred to the right now prepared strategy Baltika 2022. And definitely we are searching for all possibilities to grow internationally. And you're right that the way we are right now, let's say preparing or let's say improving or developing the entrance to the Finnish market, which is our neighbor, so to say, quite looks like easy to go in. That we'd like to first test. Even I would say we would first like to build up the way to go to the new market using all channels, how to find the customers, how to combine the physical stores, e-store, how to communicate the values of our brands, etc. So the answer is yes. We'd like to test on Finland. What would be our new market entrance strategy? And if we learn well enough and quickly enough, then perhaps the other markets will follow.
And next questions. If and how you are planning to exploit the marketing opportunity by social media, or are you already?
I definitely would like to have here answering that question my colleague Mari-Liis Küpper, who is our new head of marketing and communications. Yeah, but again, like I said, the last year was quite a year for us, and we finally realized that in many aspects the business model we have been running so far is not the one we are going to use to move forward, and it also concerns the marketing and including the social media. So far Baltika has been quite, let's say, I would say, old-fashioned traditional fashion retailer, mostly using the traditional ways and tools of marketing. We started last year already some social media events. I can name today that we have all the channels opened. You can go to Instagram, you can go to Facebook, etc. But definitely, I think that the plans and also the know-how we are right now building up the marketing team, especially focusing social media. Perhaps you'll see the new results, much better results in a coming time.
Okay. Now it seems we don't have any further questions. Thank you all for your good questions. If you have more questions later, you can ask them via email or via Baltika's website, baltikagroup.com. Our new questions and answer webpage is available to all stockholders. So if you don't have questions now, I will wait 5 seconds. I will give a word to Meelis to close it up, and thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you all for listening and to answering questions. We are honestly honored. Maybe we'll have better or more prepared questions if we have them on a next webinar earlier received, but nevertheless we try to do our best. So I'm happy that we opened the questions and answers web page in our group web page, so please use actively this. And just to close the webinar, this is our 90th year of actions, and first of all I would like to congratulate on this big date all our shareholders, investors, fans of Baltika, everybody who is interested in how we do. It's quite a history for the Estonian company, and perhaps much more prepared specific answers and comments to our 2017 results you'll get when we publish our 2018 annual report, and that will happen
2017 annual report, and it will be 22nd of March.
That will be 22nd of March, and also in annual report we disclose the ideas we have for this year strategy, the targets for this year, and also highlights of the strategy 2022. Again, from my side, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your participation. Thank you.